Okay, so if you're planning a trip to Ireland or you have a trip coming up and you want to go beyond just the stereotypical kind of tourist attractions, I think this video is going to help you. Now, I think there's nothing wrong with like the tours, the Guinness Storehouse, going to the Cliffs of Moher. Like, I do think they are all well worth visiting and they're places that I have visited more than once myself. But I think if you're coming here, if you're traveling from abroad to come to this island, you really kind of owe it to yourself to try some of the more kind of authentic Irish experiences. And I'm going to share some of those with you. So first up, something that has really exploded in popularity in Ireland in the past few years is saunas. Now in the past, I think saunas were more associated with like the Scandinavian countries and Norway and places like that. But since COVID, saunas have really become part of Irish culture. And I don't know why. I think people will say like, oh, they're healthy and, you know, X, Y, and Z. But if I really think about it, I think the reason they're so popular here is because it's so freaking cold. Even in the summer, it's cold a lot of the time. So I think sitting in a sauna on the Irish coast when the rain is lashing down, it's bitter winds, but you're in a warm sauna, all toasty, there's just no better feeling. So basically there is saunas nearly on every beach now, alongside lakes. A lot of the time, just anywhere you can have a sauna, there'll be a sauna. In Dublin alone now, I can't even count the number of saunas that have popped up, and I hope they're here to stay, and I think you should definitely try one out when you're here. So normally it will be a sauna either along the sea, or they'll have like a sauna and a cold plunge. So you'll start in your cold plunge, then you'll go back and forth from the sauna to the cold plunge for like 50 minutes, and it's just gorgeous. So I have a few saunas that I absolutely love in different parts of the country. So in Dublin, if you're in the city, there is a place called Inchicore Sauna Village. So it's on the outskirts of the city. It's not by the coast, but it's a whole sauna village where they have multiple different saunas. So there's the quiet sauna where you can't talk, there's an electric sauna, there's just a standard sauna, and there's just a few. And then you have 3 cold plunges as well. I think it's 2 cold plunges and 1 like lukewarm pool. And again, you can just go in and out from all different saunas as you wish. So I really recommend that one if you're in Dublin. I'm going to leave a full link to a page with all the saunas I recommend in the description. So check that out because there's too many to talk about right now. But please try a sauna. Now, secondly, on that same note, a sea swim. Hear me out. I know Ireland's really cold, but sea swimming, again, is a really big thing in Ireland with some people. So I think it's kind of 50-50. I think there are still people who think it's ridiculous, it's too cold, and they think the sea swimmers are crazy. And then there's the other 50, which I am part of, where sea swimming is now a non-negotiable. And when I say swimming, for me it's dipping. So I get into the sea until I'm up to my neck. I stay there for a few minutes. I literally feel all the stress leave my body. I feel like my mind goes quiet for the first time in weeks or since I was last in the sea. And then I leave the sea and I just feel incredible. It's like the perfect way to reset if you have a lot going on. It is freezing, but in the best way. And weirdly, I think it's nearly easier to go in the winter because in the winter it's so cold. I know this mightn't sound enticing, but it's so cold that when you get in, as soon as it hits your skin, you go numb. So it's incredible. You just get in, you're numb, and you just feel numb to everything. It's amazing. And then in the summer, I actually find it a little bit more difficult. But any beach, as long as it's a beach that you can swim on, just Google the beach before you get in case there's like riptides and things like that. But like most beaches are fine. Lakes, even better because they're colder. Please go for a swim when you're in Ireland and tell me how you get on. So if you're in Dublin in particular, I really recommend, first of all, Sea Point, which is near Dunleary on the coast of Dublin. I really like that one. It's really busy. So if you're not used to getting in the sea, there's loads of people around, so you don't have to worry about anything happening. But I recommend Sea Point. There's changing areas, there's toilets, and it's really busy. 40 Foot is a really popular one in Dublin. So if you've seen the movie Bad Sisters, the 40 Foot is the swimming location that they used for that movie. And then if you want something really different, there's a place called Bats, which is in kind of like Dalkey, Killiney area. And what's really cool about that is the area itself was designed, I think, by an Italian like architect or designer, and you can feel that when you're driving through. Like, it feels like you're in Italy. And when you go down to the Bats, it's not somewhere you can walk in, you have to jump in. So if you're not a good swimmer, don't go there. But it's a really nice spot for sea swimming. Sorry, I could talk about sea swimming a lot. Oh my god, sorry, I'm talking so much. Again, this is a new thing I'm trying where I just sit and talk to the camera. I don't know if that's the kind of video you like, but it means I can do so many more videos on so many more topics and help you plan your trip to Ireland. So let me know if you like this kind of style video and leave suggestions for what you want to know about in the comments. Ugh. Now, one thing people say when they come to Ireland, which I love to hear, is that the food is amazing. Now, I of course agree with that. And I think there's so many reasons why the food here is amazing. First of all, in Europe, I think there's a lot of ingredients that may be allowed in America that are not allowed here. I think farming is such a big thing here. We're also known for our meat. Our beef is like grass-fed beef and stuff like that. So yeah, I think the food is amazing. And one thing that we love here is like a carvery or a roast dinner. Now, I know it's even bigger in the UK, but I think most people here love their carvery dinner or like their roast dinner. So I think you absolutely need to go for one of those. It's basically your standard dinner. It's your meat, your veg, and your potatoes and your gravy. And it's incredible. Do they do roast dinners in America and other countries? I'm sure they do, but I don't know. I just think it's special here and in the UK because, again, it's so cold. You just want that like hearty, warm, comforting food. And a roast dinner is the best way to get all the comforting, warm, hearty feels. So one place that I would recommend, again, if you're in Dublin, is Caribou. Now, it's right in like Dublin city centre. It's just beside St. Stephen's Green. It's like a 5-minute walk from there, and it's really good. So you go in and you get your menu, and it's basically just different roast dinner options. Where's my phone? Because I'll tell you, and I'm going to pop it up on screen as well. Yes, so there was roast beef. There was a veggie roast, which was really nice to see. It was celeriac steak. There was a roast half a chicken, and there was steak fritters. I don't know what that is. And then you could also do all the extra trimmings. They serve food from 12 o'clock and it's walk-in only, so you don't have to book ahead. And it's really goddamn good. In terms of elsewhere in the country, I think Dublin is the main place people are obviously going to come into. Any pub in Ireland will generally do like a roast dinner all days of the week. It's either like roast beef or like turkey and ham normally. So good. Now, one experience I think tourists and visitors to Ireland are recommended to go to is like a session, like a trad session. It's basically where a group of musicians meet in a pub and they just play songs for hours, and like there's no practice, there's no like, some of the times they don't even know each other. It's just there's a session on in this pub at this time, whatever musicians want to come can come, and they all just play together, and it's quite something. And truth be told, I don't love traditional Irish music. It kind of like irritates a part of my brain. But I was at a session on Clare Island off the coast of Mayo recently, and it really opened my eyes, and it was something really special. So again, there was just a group of musicians in the corner and they were playing for hours, but every couple of songs they would take a break, and then like locals would just stand up and sing a song or read out a poem, or like this old man got up and he told like this really funny story that lasted like 15 minutes. There was a girl in the pub who does sean-nós dancing, so she got up and did a dance while the musicians played, and then like an old man just got up and like joined in with her. So if you go to like the right kind of trad session, it is just a really special experience of like storytelling, music, and again, I think those things are so integral and they're so ingrained in Irish culture. It would be a pity to visit this country and not experience that for yourself. And again, so many pubs around the country have sessions quite regularly. In Galway City, for example, there's like sessions on most nights of the week in some pubs because they're so like, it's such a tourist heavy town. But I would do your research and ask around maybe of where there are sessions. Ireland has its own like sport, and it's Gaelic football or GAA, and it's hurling. People come here, they should really go to a match. Because I know like when Irish people go to America, they always go to like hockey games and like football games, and it's such a different way of sport than we have here. So I think it'd be nice to do the reverse, where when people come here, they go to a GAA match. So the main big stadium in Ireland is Croke Park, and that's in Dublin. Now people can visit that, so you can actually go and do tours there. I did a tour there last year, and it's a skyline tour. So you actually go up on top of the stadium, and you're attached to a wire, and you can like walk around the perimeter, and there's a bit where you can walk right out over a part of the pitch. It's quite terrifying, but it's a really cool experience. And during that tour there's a little bit about football, but it's mostly actually just about Dublin. but actually go to a game. I'm not actually a football person myself, so I don't know what the different leagues are. I don't know when the big matches are on, but obviously when there's like leagues on, the big matches, like the higher level matches, are in Croke Park, and obviously you can buy tickets. But there's just like county level matches all the time in like football pitches around the country that are free. Like you can just, if there's a match on, you can just go stand on the side of the pitch and watch it. Wherever you're visiting, just ask around and ask. Just say like, I want to experience a GAA match or a hurling match. Is there any on at the moment? Where are they? How can I get there? And I just think that would be a really nice experience to see for yourself. Which is rich coming from someone who doesn't like football or hurling, but... So they're the main ones I can think of right now, but there is a load of like Irish experiences. So for example, as I said earlier in the video, farming and agriculture is a massive thing over here, and there's so many different types. So as I said, there's like the meat farms and the farms where they raise cows, whether for milk or for meat, and there's farms that you can go visit. So last year I was in County Kerry in Killarney, which again, a big tourist town, so you might be going to Killarney, and there's a place called Muckris Creamery. It's a farm where they raise cows and they make their own ice cream. And you can visit this farm. So you can book a tour on the farm. They bring you around. You literally get to go in the field with the cows. Oh, they were so cute. So you get to go on the field with the cows. You get to go into like the milking parlour to see where they milk the cows. And then at the end, there's a little like trailer where they have like an ice cream parlour, and you get to have your own ice cream cone. And it was a really cool experience. And as I said, I don't like meat. I don't like farms in general. But this was a really cool experience to see how that ice cream literally starts in that field, it gets milked in the parlour, and then you get your ice cream. And they talk about how the farm is like a family run business and how it's been in the family for generations. So I would really recommend that if you're in Killarney. The other types of farms, like people have like sheep farms, especially in the west of Ireland. You will see that if you're travelling through the west, anywhere that's mountainous, there's just like hundreds of sheep out on the mountains. And that's something you can also experience. So I know in Galway, there's somewhere where you can book a like sheepdog experience where you go out on the mountain or like the fields, and the farmer will show you how the sheepdogs work and how they herd the sheep. And I think that's really cool. That's something I've never done, but I know where you can do it, so I will link that below. So I'm from the Midlands, where bogs are a big thing. I don't know, does everyone know what bogs are? They're basically these like kind of very wet, waterlogged areas where over hundreds of years, like the grass and the trees, when they die, they go into the ground and they like... it's really hard to explain, and it's how we heat our houses. So as it dries out, we cut what's called turf and we burn that in our fire, which is basically really compacted peat that's formed in the bogs, if that makes sense. I don't do a good job of explaining it, but you can learn about it because in the Midlands there are bog cutting experiences. So you can book on and they bring you out to the bog, they teach you about what they are, you will get to see them, and they will show you how to cut turf. And in some of these experiences you actually get to cut turf yourself. So again, I will link one of those below. And as I said, that's something that's done where I'm from. So that's probably the one I'm the most familiar with, because as kids, we were brought out to the bog every summer and we would have to... So a big tractor would come in and cut the turf, but then we would have to foot it, which means you pile it up so that it dries, and then we would have to throw it in a trailer and we bring it home, and that's how we heat our houses, by burning it on the fire. And yeah, again, there's just so many different things. Like on the coast, obviously, like oysters and like seaweed is a big thing, so there's like foraging classes you can do. And one of the big things everyone talks about when they visit Ireland is Irish soda bread. So it's just like the kind of bread we make. Again, I don't think it's too special to me, but tourists talk about the bread here all the time, and you could book in to a like soda bread making workshop to learn how to make it yourself, so that when you go home you can continue to do that and you've brought a little bit of like Irish culture with you. So I think there's so many like authentic Irish experiences that you should try. Still do the other stuff too, still go to the Guinness Storehouse, I really recommend that. Do all the other bits, but even like obviously you don't have to do them all, but try one authentic Irish experience while you're here. So anyway, I'm going to leave links below to like different options for the experiences I've talked about, for sauna locations, beach locations for you to check out, and maybe something will take your fancy for an upcoming trip to Ireland. And if it does, let me know. Like, I'd love feedback on this, because these are things I recommend and I think are cool, but I'd love to know if A, you've tried one before, B, you decide to try one, and C, how you get on, because it'd be really cool for me to learn about your experiences after trying my recommendations. So please let me know. So if you enjoy this type of video, let me know as well. If there's any topics you want me to cover, tell me, because I really do want to help you with planning your trip and getting the most out of Ireland. So I'm happy to make a video on whatever it is that you might want to know about. So let me know. Like the video, subscribe, and I'll chat to you after.